gentlemen, girls and boys, welcome to the world's greatest show on earth, presenting the one, the only, the Garden of Unearthly Delights, featuring amazing circus performers, captivating acrobats, sideshow freaks, cabaret, burlesque, comedy, thrills and spills, with live, national and international acts and artists. Hurry, hurry, it's showtime!
My friends who have been to the Edinburgh Festival for all their life, if they got wind of how cool Adelaide Fringe is, and especially these gardens, they'd all be over here in a shot.
Coming from a cabaret background, I've been used to cabaret festivals, which are in theatres, and it's very different to being in the garden. The garden, in comparison, feels like a bit of a circus. One of the joys for me has been meeting so many different people. I think, there's comedians, there's street performers, there's people who do freak shows, there's performers like me who come from cabaret. I'm a real kind of high heels and sequins kind of girl, and then you put that next to someone who's covered in tattoos and piercings and it's just all walks of life, and we're all the same, and we're all treading the same path, and we're all here doing the same thing because we love it.
What's great about Fringe and being in the garden is you get to meet a lot of creative people. You hang out with them at night, and you've got like a mini family there for the 4 or 5 weeks of the festival.
I think as an artist here at Adelaide, you get a lot of inspiration from other artists. There's a lot of chance for collaboration, there's a lot of chance to see shows that you maybe wouldn't see anywhere else. There's a lot of chance to see your friends evolving as performers and artists, and I think that's really fabulous.
It's so intense actually, because you meet these people and then you're with them every single day, and they look after you, and they sell your show, and they tell people how great you are, and they look after you in emotionally and practically, and you become so close to them. You hang out with them, you eat with them, you see them every night, and it's something that it almost is lacking in a stand-up career, that usually you're a solo artist and you just travel the world doing your own thing, and to be in the garden means that I actually have a sense of community, and it's something I really value.
There's a family feel, and everybody looks out for each other, and the garden are really interested in getting as many people into your show as possible.
This is an amazing place to be able to grow as an artist in the garden. You can really get a sense of what other kinds of performances are around, people doing comedy, people doing circus, people singing, and it's amazing. You can see all sorts of things in this artistic village.
Everybody here is kind of from the same ilk, so you're never more than 2 meters away from a crazy performer doing something odd, doing something crazy. And that's just how we like it, because it fits in right with how we are, even though sometimes we would just prefer to go home and have a piece of toast and go to bed.
It's like the hub of the Fringe. Everyone comes here. When you think of the Adelaide Fringe, I presume most people just think of the garden. And no wonder why, because it's awesome. It's filled with people and atmosphere and drinks and food and shows and lights and rides, and what more could you want in life?
You feel like you're in a carnival rather than being in a kind of comedy festival or a cabaret festival.
Yeah, it's just a great place to hang out, and I think people really feel that. The audiences that have been coming in just really enjoy being here, that this is happening in their city, and it's just a lovely kind of warm, friendly community atmosphere.
One of my favourite things is the fact the staff are kind of dressed in kind of old, kind of a vintage fair. They look fantastic, and I think they make the audience feel like they're entering into another world.
It's the lighting, the atmosphere, the smells, the sounds.
It's a lovely place to be, this garden. The only thing that I have to compare it to is the Edinburgh Fringe, and it's nicer because it's sunnier and warmer, and there's less rain and less hills and less cobbles.
The garden is like no other place in terms of in the Fringe world, and I mean all the different festivals in the world. The garden is certainly unique. It's got more carnival in it than most of the other venue, in fact any venue in Edinburgh, and it's a great place to see lots of other acts, to hang out with acts, to have a drink, and it's also really nice because unlike other Fringe venues in Edinburgh, this is a place where people come to hang out and not necessarily see a show, so it creates a great atmosphere.
On top of just having enthusiastic audiences who are ready to take a chance any night, it is an exciting place
place to come to work.
To finish your show and just sit on the grass with a glass of wine and just soak up the atmosphere and see the kind of buzz and see people hanging about having a beer and chatting to each other and hear people recommending shows and then nipping in to see someone else's show, and all the performers are in the same space.
There's a good reason that a lot of people think the Adelaide Fringe is just the garden, because it kind of typifies it, and it's a very awesome place to be.
I'm terrified of spiders, so that's the way I first start the story. And then one day I walked out of the show, there were some people sat at a table, they were looking at me. I thought they were looking at me because they recognised me from the show. I thought, yes, star, Billy Big Balls. Walked a bit further, then they screamed at me to stop because right in front of my face was a garden orb weaver. Is that how you say it? Which would have landed in my face. I'd have probably died.
A spider came on the stage the other day as well, and I say spider, it could have been a crab. It was about the same size.
The first week I was here, I had to be in the garden early to do a breakfast TV spot, and as I was waiting, what I thought was a squirrel bounced around in front of me, and I thought, oh, it's a lovely little squirrel. So I went over to it, and it turned around and looked at me, and it hissed at me, and it opened its mouth, and its mouth was like a box of knives.
Possums running in the back of tents and running across stages and disappearing. That's kind of the sort of thing you don't get at many venues around the world, is a possum streaker who runs onto the show and steals the show for a good 5 minutes.
Other than me voguing for the first time in 20 years at the Fringe Club the other night, I don't have any particular kind of funny stories about the garden.
Maybe one of my favorite things about the garden is that I can take a nap in the caravan outside before the show if I had one too many the night before.
Me and Rich were pretty tired, so we just thinking we're about to walk home, and then got called, last call, anyone want to come in, see a 15-minute show? We're like, oh yeah, okay, well, give it a go, just on our way home. And turns out it was the world's strongest woman. For a finale, she grabbed me and Rich, and she was lifting both of us on some kind of big metal swing rod thing above her head and spinning us round and round like some kind of crazy ride. And it's just brilliant that stuff like that happens.
Oh, I don't know if that's too lewd.
Oh no, what are you going to say? You can't say that.
Okay.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, you're not allowed to say that.
No, I can't
No,
say
it involves all sorts of terrible, terrible things that people don't know about.
Yes, it does.